Lawmakers will go to Tallahassee for the third time this year, embarking on another special legislative session. We're examining the need for property insurance reform. Plus, new Secretary of State Byrd is from the beaches. Byrd is with us today. So is one of his detractors who says members of her party don't like the choice and they worry about elections in the state. On This Week in Jacksonville. Glad you're with us today. Florida's Department of State is going through a transition with midterm elections on the way this summer and fall. Secretary of State Laurel Lee resigned to run for Congress, and then 2 days later, a state representative from Neptune Beach was appointed. Earlier this week, I spoke with new Secretary Byrd about how quickly the change came and why he feels he's ready for the role.
I think it was unexpected. I mean, once Secretary Lee made the decision that she was going to run for Congress, it created a vacancy. And the governor asked if I was interested, and I certainly jumped at the opportunity to serve him and continue serving the people not only of our community, but the entire state of Florida.
When it comes to serving in this role, certainly the thing so many of us are focused on, hey, this is overseeing elections. What else does Secretary of State do in the state of Florida?
Sure. Well, it's a fantastic department. We oversee the museums, culture and the arts, the division of corporations. If you want to start a business, you come through the Secretary of State, the Consul General. So dealing with foreign countries that want to do business in Florida or have cultural exchanges in Florida. So there's a whole host of things, and I'm really excited about getting out and telling Floridians exactly what the Secretary of State's office does and how we can promote the great things that are happening in Florida.
So, Secretary, when it does come to elections, that's certainly a focal point for what the governor said in terms of appointing you. And it's certainly the focal point in legislation that we've seen this year and then last year as well in the House and Senate. What are the keys there? And when we think back to 2020, we all talked about, wow, Florida did such a great job with election. Why have any changes been needed in terms of elections in the state?
Sure. So 2020 was successful. The governor has made that clear, but we don't rest on our laurels. We look and see what's happening in other states. We look for vulnerabilities that we have here and things where we can improve to ensure that our elections are open, fair, transparent, that every Floridian that goes and casts a ballot knows that their vote is going to be counted and counted accurately. So the legislature over the last 2 years has continued to improve transparency for voters and monitoring the elections, and also putting additional security measures in place.
When it comes to additional security measures, I mean, election security is part of what Republicans have talked about in Florida for the reason we need to do this. There's a new investigative component of your office. I'd love to hear more about that. But people who have criticized your appointment, and more specifically, they have criticized the election reform that's been happening this year and last year, said, hey, this is about voter suppression. Why do you think that is or isn't the case?
So absolutely not true. And looking back to 2020, every voter that wanted to vote got to cast a vote. And how can I be confident in saying that? Because it would have been on the front page of every paper if somebody didn't. So we want to make sure that every eligible voter votes. But we also know that things happen that aren't correct, such as people changing voter registration, going to nursing homes and taking advantage of vulnerable citizens. And so the legislature created the Office of Election Integrity to have a dedicated unit, law enforcement unit, that would go out and investigate and build the cases, and where necessary, make referrals to the local state attorneys for prosecution if necessary. I mean, the elections are no different than any other law. We expect that our laws be enforced. That's what the governor expects. And that's what most Floridians expect. Follow the law and people will have no problems.
So if elections were done well and there weren't problems again 2 years ago, then what's this need for an added expense and an added arm of almost law enforcement here?
Sure. Well, the election laws are complex. It's a complex interplay of federal and state law. And so the state attorneys and local law enforcement don't always have the resources or the expertise. And so the thought of the legislature was to create this dedicated unit that would investigate it, because there are some sophisticated organizations and groups that come in and ballot harvest. And we've seen changes of voter registration, party affiliation, registering people who you either shouldn't vote or registering deceased people. So those things are happening. And listen, if you lose your election by a few votes, that's an overwhelming amount. If it was a small number, that small number could change an election, and that's what we're trying to prevent.
Secretary Byrd, critics have kind of jumped on some social media that was done by Esther Byrd, your wife, in the past. So clear the Air Force or explain this. The critics say, hey, here's somebody who has influence with now the Secretary of State, and she feels this way. She believes this way. They're talking about a post that seemed, or at least the critics say, was in support of QAnon and supported the Capitol riot that happened more than a year ago. Where do things really stand? What's your view on that?
Sure. Thank you, Ken. Esther, after 9/11, joined the Marine Corps because she's passionate about her love for our country and our community. She's continued that work after her military service, and she's passionate. Politics people feel very passionately about the things that she believes in, or that they believe in. She loves the Constitution. She loves the rule of law. You know me. That's what we talk about. And sometimes, and this is no surprise to anyone, political rhetoric can get heated. And that's not unusual. I mean, just open the paper every day and you see that. But I reject any notion that there's anything untoward. I think people are not, it's not their concern that I can't do the job. It's that I'm going to do the job and do it effectively. I think that's where the criticism comes from.
Some of the criticism is, hey, if she feels this way, then he must feel this way. Do you have any concerns that, again, January 6th, that the federal election was stolen or anything like that?
No, listen, Esther is a strong, independent-minded woman. She has her own thoughts, just as I have my own thoughts. And listen, I'm here my job is to enforce the law in Florida. And that's what I'm going to do and do it effectively.
Seems like one of the challenges might be what's happened with redistricting, and there's a court battle now about these congressional seats. How does the Secretary of State's office help play that out in all the counties across the state of Florida in terms of which seats are going to be drawn and voted on, even coming up in the primary season?
Sure. So we are in litigation now, and because of that, I'm not going to comment in detail, but those filings are public, and we need to have an answer. I mean, candidates need an answer, the supervisors of elections need an answer, and the people need an answer, and I think that will be coming very shortly. But we are going to do in my office everything we can to ensure that the legislation passed by the Florida legislature and signed by the governor is enacted into law.
And so Mr. Byrd has been appointed. He has to be confirmed by the Senate. That could happen this coming week in Tallahassee. All right, stay with us. A local legend in public service is ready to take a seat here at the table. We're speaking with former and perhaps future election supervisor Jerry Holland. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville.
Everybody deserves justice. It's not just a privilege for a few, it's a right for everyone. And that's how we've built this firm over the last 40 years.
Let's go where we can escape, where we can feel the excitement, where we can feel everything together. The Jacksonville Symphony. Experience music that excites your emotions and carries you away with performances like The Music of Queen in a classic rock symphony featuring Broadway and West End star Mig Ayesa, who astounds with the power of Freddie Mercury's vocals wrapped in the sound of the Jacksonville Symphony. Break out of the ordinary and experience the most thrilling night in Jacksonville. For tickets, visit jacksymphony.org.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/hire and get started today.
The Morning Show on Channel 4 makes mornings happen.
I was driving home from practice, and I remember seeing this car coming right towards me, and a huge, loud. I knew with my injuries that I wasn't going to be able to play. Having my career cut short by a drunk driver was the worst part of my life. I knew if there was, one firm to get me justice and to get me compensated for that, it was going to be Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan has definitely really helped me in the toughest, darkest moments of my life. Those guys were there for me. I'm Chandler Parsons, and I chose Morgan & Morgan.
$1. That's how much it cost to buy the patent for insulin in 1921. But in 2022, local families are living on the edge between life and death.
How costly is it to live with diabetes?
My husband says if he knew how costly it was, he wouldn't have married me.
Forced to make impossible choices.
People are really contemplating, do I buy groceries or do I buy my insulin?
What's behind the skyrocketing prices and why there's no one-size-fits-all solution? Drug deals, insulin. Monday starting at 5 on News 4 Jax. You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
Duval County property appraiser Jerry Holland joining us in studio today. And Jerry, thank you for being with us. I invited you for a couple of topics, and I definitely want to get at your expertise, your extensive knowledge of real estate, both as property appraiser now and then from career, real estate broker, certified appraiser. First, though, you just heard my conversation with Secretary Byrd. What's your view on his appointment and really the job that Florida's Secretary of State has to do this summer and fall?
Well, I've known Secretary Byrd now for some years. In fact, we were on a speaking tour one time just going around talking about amendments. He's one that gets very well versed in whatever he's doing. He'll know the election law. He'll go out there. He communicates well. I think he was a good pick by the governor.
So you were supervisor of elections in Duval County for some 10 years. You're running again for next year's vote. You helped us cover election 2020, as a matter of fact. And when we were here in this studio on that night, we said, wow, Florida really seemed to be on the ball for the election. And then there are these changes in last year's legislative session, this year's legislative session. Why, I guess from your view, why these changes to elections procedures if the election went so well just a couple of years ago?
I think it did go well, but I think also the same mindset we had in the elections office. How do you make it better? How do you keep improving it? Part of the job of the secretary as well as supervisor of elections is to convince all voters that the process is going to be fair, accurate, and transparent. And when you have, movies like 2,000 Mules and movies that are things that come out that can take away your confidence, part of it is to keep doing the things that brings back confidence in elections. And I think Senate Bill 90 is a good example of the 25 major items in Senate Bill 90. They don't take away anyone's right to vote. They definitely make it more secure. So I think it's going to be a good process once people get into it and understand it.
In just a few moments, we're going to have State Representative Tracy Davis, who worked for and with you there at the Supervisor of Elections. There is a different view out there saying no, so we'll get to that with her. Jerry, you and I, let's shift topics here. You got lots of knowledge on real estate. I want to talk about the property insurance crisis going on in the state of Florida right now. This coming week, legislative session, it's a special session for the state and the House trying to figure out what to do here. I know personally, property insurance, homeowners insurance, that's an issue where we're seeing people dropped, rates going up. What's your view here on what has to be done for people who live in the state?
No doubt we've got a serious crisis here in Florida. One of the issues is when you look at homeowner claims, Florida has about a little over 8% of the homeowner claims for the entire nation, but 76% of the legal claims for homeowners and for property claims are in the state of Florida, 76%. So there's a lot of litigation. And I've talked to insurance agents. Part of that reason is in Florida, you can assign your benefits to the contractor, to the roofer, to go after the payment, to the insurance company, which then they go after legal representation to get that payment. And there's so many, they're concerned that there's so many improper requests for reimbursement for replacement of roofs. In fact, I read today that some insurance companies are not going to cover people if the roof is 20 years or older. Another insurance company said if your roof is more than 10 years or older. And they're all getting into its amount of the roofs that are being replaced that don't need to, and the litigation that follows to require the insurance companies to pay. So that creates a big cost for everyone.
So from somebody who grew up in other parts of the country, then you moved to Florida, and then you experienced what we have in the last 10 years, a few different hurricanes. I had roof damage at my home. So I've kind of walked through that process a little bit. But what needs to happen here, not just to protect homeowners, but property owners in general? Because it's not just a house that gets damaged by that hurricane comes through. It's that business, it's that school, it's all of that, right?
They really have to dig in deep and see about these false claims. You know, a lot of them are claiming hail damage, you know, whether it's you have to bring documentation or whether something, but you know, it's a year later, obviously a roofer shows up and says, hey, listen, I've inspected your roof. I think it's got hail damage. I'll replace it. It won't cost you anything. And I'll submit all the paperwork. And you say, sure, for a brand new roof and it's not going to cost me anything. But there's definitely some false claims in there. We've got to get to the bottom of that. How do we prevent that? Because it's not happening in other places in the country. It definitely is happening here.
Let's take a look at some of the damage that we've seen over the last several years because of hurricanes. I mean, this kind of thing happens, and of course, there's going to be damage. But I think more of the issue that we're talking about is when those contractors, those roofers come in and say, oh, I think there's something, and I can't tell as a homeowner, as somebody who's not an expert, I can't tell whether there really is or isn't damage on that
and
property.
If you're going to sign something and know that you're going to get a brand new roof and it's not going to cost you anything, you're probably going to say, sure, I'll take a new roof. You know, so that's the issue. I mean, it's not the hurricanes. It's in fact, you know, construction costs has gone up 30%. That's an increased cost for the insurance companies. We've seen values go up more than 11% this year, you know, on taxable values. All that plays into it, but it seems like the litigation cost is what's really the big factor with the insurance companies.
Well, it's been a long time since I was in college and had an economics class, but that econ professor said there's no such thing as a free lunch. Those costs, they're there somewhere, and in this case, it seems like the people of Florida are paying those costs. Jerry, I appreciate your insights on both of those topics.
Thank you.
All right, so another person with lots of elections experience is here, State Representative Tracy Davis. She's joining us next on This Week in Jacksonville. Don't go anywhere.
The Pre-Memorial Day Spectacular. Save thousands. May 13th to May 22nd. Outdoor kitchens, outdoor furniture, hot tubs, in-stock swim spas, and more. 0% financing available. The Pre-Memorial Day Spectacular. Don't miss it.
When you have an accident, you really feel lost. To have somebody that's there in your corner helping you getting through that time, it's definitely an amazing feeling.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on these GMC models. We are professional grade GMC.
Another crazy day? Of course. You're a CIO in 2022, but you're ready because you've got the next generation in global secure networking from Comcast Business with fully integrated security solutions all in one place. So you're covered, on-premise and in the cloud. You can run things the way you want, your team, ours, or a mix of both, with the nation's largest IP network from the most innovative company. Bring on today with Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Jason Fisher is a conservative fighter with the record to prove it. Liberals tried to take away our gun rights and take over our streets, but Fisher said no to gun control and defunding the police. He stood with Governor DeSantis to ban sanctuary cities and keep critical race theory out of the classrooms. And as a member of the Electoral College, Jason Fisher fought back against those trying to steal the election from President Trump. Tested, trusted, conservative. We need Jason Fisher in Congress. Florida Trust is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Unlock exclusive news stories. Become a News 4 Jax insider. Sign up and sign in.
Years ago, when Harrell and Harrell was growing, we had a decision to make whether we were going to grow into the state or even beyond. And we decided that we were going to stay here in this community in Northeast Florida. It's staying here and not looking at where's the next place that we can go or how can we get bigger, because bigger is not necessarily better. This is our home. This is where our families are. This is where our friends are. And this is where we're going to stay.
It's time to get ready for your Memorial Day, May 13th to May 22nd. Here's your chance to save thousands. Outdoor kitchens, hot tubs, outdoor furniture, in-stock swim spas. The pre-Memorial Day Spectacular, only at Premier Outdoor. Don't miss it.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
Florida lawmakers are back to Tallahassee this coming week for a special session, their second since leaving the state capitol in March. Tracy Davis, a Democratic state representative for Jacksonville, and Representative Davis, that is with us today. So let's talk, I guess, first, how do we see this insurance issue solved for people? Jerry Holland was just with us. We heard some of his perspective on that. But as you all lawmakers go back to Tallahassee, what are we going to see?
A lot going on.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting phone calls every day in my office from constituents that are dealing with this property insurance crisis that we're in. The rates are rising. They're skyrocketing through the roof. So when we go back to Tallahassee, our job as legislators is to be focused on making sure we're dealing with consumer protections. That's what this is all about. And let's face it, people are still dealing with claims not being paid from Hurricane Irma from 2017. So, and those claims are going to continue because Florida has hurricane season and we have fires and other seasonal things that happen. Those claims are going to still continue. So our job has to be focusing in on consumer protections and what to do because those claims are going to still keep coming.
So we know there's citizens insurance. That's the insurance of last resort for people. But we've also got property insurance companies that are either going out of business or saying, I don't want to be in Florida anymore. That seems like it's just adding to the crisis here.
It is, but we have to find a way, in my mind, to incentivize some of our developers to make sure we're building more multifamily housing as well as, condo living. We have to create some more affordable housing around here. And we have to give people a relief. But at the end of the day, we know, going back to Tallahassee, our job is consumer protections with this issue, and we got to make sure we do something and we do something now. Our ratepayers, our constituents are looking at us for answers, and we gotta answer the call.
Yeah. What do you think? Is there anything that you would say are factors that would help both companies and customers survive this?
That's a tough one, but again, it's around incentivizing our developers to create some more multifamily housing, to create more affordable living situations. And, we got to understand, our insurance companies have to understand that, these claims are going to be made. And they have to be prepared for paying those claims because it's not going to stop. But again, it's our job as legislators to come up with answers during this period of special session for our constituents. We've got to give them some kind of solve.
Yeah, a tough time. So let's shift our focus a little bit here. Several elections changes for the state in the past year and a half. Governor Ron DeSantis and the GOP-led House and Senate, they call it election security. Democrats have called it voter suppression.
Yes.
So help me understand your perspective on the difference there. Republicans are saying, no, this is exactly what helps us be even better at elections.
Well, coming off of a situation in an election where we had the governor of the state say that 2020 was a gold seal election for Florida and one of the best we've had. And then we walk into two sessions where we dealt with the first bill, SB 90, that created hurdles and burdens for our voters with changing the way we do vote by mail system. So instead of requesting a vote by mail every 2 years, now we're requesting it every year. And so that's taking time and money and effort for our supervisors of elections offices to get that messaging out. This year we dealt with criminalization of voter registration. We raised the fees on it. So our voter registration organizations, instead of perhaps being put in a position to pay a $1,000 fine, now they'll be paying up to $50,000. And as well as ballot harvesting. Ken, I'll tell you, I was with the elections office for 14 years, and I had never heard the term of ballot harvesting until I walked into the Florida House. But that's another thing. People will be penalized and criminalized in these last two these election bills that we have on the books. And so my colleagues may say it's more security. I say it's adding more hurdles and barriers to communities all through this state especially our populations of people with disabilities, our populations of people who have transportation issues. We're not doing all we can to make voting as easy as it should be.
I'm going to pull up on screen here. 3 weeks ago, your comments about the governor's elections bill. Part of the tweet calls it a continued attack by the Republican Party to generate public distrust in the integrity of our elections, to criminalize and penalize people for conducting voter registration and returning voted ballots simply has no merit. That's got to be frustrating for you because as the minority party, it's got to feel like you're not being heard on that. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Again, my Republican colleagues like to say these election laws are put in place for security and protection, and I say they're laws put in place under the guise of security and protection. Everything we've done over the last 2 sessions with SB 90 and SB 524 have added hurdles and burdens to people voting, and we're putting in things in place where now there's a plan to add personal information to our vote by mail envelopes that the supervisor of elections will have to turn in a report to say how much that cost will be. But we're continuing to do things that are making this a more expensive type of situation where we're dealing with elections, because we're putting things on books where we have no cost of what it's going to, the taxpayer is going to have to bear, as well as just making it more complicated and complex for voters to simply vote. Voting should be easy. We should be doing things to make voting as simple as possible, and my caucus and myself feel we're not doing that, and we haven't done it over the last 2 years, especially with the governor saying we conducted the best election ever in 2020.
Yeah, and what we've heard on our show today is that Republican side saying, hey, we don't want to rest on our laurels, we want to make it even better, but to your point, to make it even easier for people to have a legitimate vote. Tracy Davis, I appreciate it. Our state representative, I know you're running for state senate as well in the future. We'll talk about that race as well. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So our Hand on Government segment returns next week, plus conversations with Senator Marco Rubio and Georgia's Stacey Abrams this week in Jacksonville. There's each Sunday morning at this time. Thanks for joining us today.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.